Hi, welcome to the Crypto Republic. Something incredible is unfolding with XRP right now. And if you hold even a small position, this could be life-changing. For years, critics dismissed XRP as just another altcoin. They said its lawsuit would crush it. They called it too centralized. They said adoption would never scale. But here we are in 2025, and everything is shifting in real time. Institutional investors who once ignored XRP are now lining up, filling regulatory paperwork and preparing to secure exposure before the next explosive move. This is real capital entering the market, not hype, not real retail chatter, but professional money that can move entire markets. Think about this. XRP ecosystem isn't just surviving, it's evolving. Ripple's building bridges between traditional finance and crypto, solving real-world problems and gaining regulatory clarity along the way. And today we're going to break down exactly why 1,000 XRP could be worth multiples of what it is now by 2026. Institutional interest. Right now, over a dozen major financial firms managing hundreds of billions of dollars are filing to gain exposure to XRP. This isn't retail traders or small investors. This is the type of capital that makes the headlines when it moves. Look at Bitcoin as a precedent. Once ETFs were approved, billions of dollars poured into. Prices skyrocketed. XRP is following a similar trajectory, but with one major difference. XRP isn't just a store of value, it's a bridge currency, a utility token designed for global settlements. Every institution that gets it in early doesn't just influence price, they accelerate adoption. XRP's ledger can settle payments globally in seconds for fractions of a cent. Think about it. Sending money internationally. Today it's slow, expensive, and inefficient. XRP solves that. And that's why the timing right now is critical. We're early, the infrastructure is ready, regulatory clarity is improving, and the market hasn't fully priced in its potential. Let's talk about the power of RLUSD. Let's talk Ripple's own stablecoin. RLUSD launched less than a year ago. It's already growing faster than nearly any other stablecoin in the market. In just 6 months, it's climbed from being a minor player to one of the top 20 by market cap, surpassing 500 million USD. This growth feeds directly into XRP. How? Through auto bridging. Every time RLUSD is used for cross-border or institutional transactions, XRP is burned as part of the settlement process. More RLUSD usage equals more XRP demand and shrinking supply, the perfect recipe for long-term price pressure. Right now, the majority of RLUSD sits on Ethereum, taking advantage of its network effects. But as adoption on the XRP ledger increases, the rate of burns could accelerate, increasing scarcity and driving value upwards. One of the biggest game changers for XRP was the resolution of its long-running lawsuit. That kept uncertainty, kept institutional investors cautious. Now that clarity exists, Ripple can operate openly and legally, building trust with banks, governments, and enterprises. Ripple didn't just survive the legal battle, it emerged stronger. They've secured more than 60 licenses globally, showing regulators and institutions that compliance comes first. And in finance, trust is everything. That's why institutional interest is surging. XRP is no longer a risky bet. It's now recognized as a tool for bridging markets and enabling instant settlements. Let's talk about the tokenization wave that's incoming. Everybody sees this. Now let's discuss this in detail. The real driver behind long-term XRP value. Every type of asset, stocks, bonds, real estate, commodities, is increasingly being represented on-chain today. That requires liquidity and a bridge, which is exactly what XRP provides. Picture this, a real estate transaction in New York instantly settling with a fund in Singapore. Assets move in seconds. Fees are almost negligible. XRP is the connector that enables this. Every transaction increases demand, burns tokens, and reinforces scarcity, creating a feedback loop that benefits long-term holders, my friends. This is where XRP's unique utility separates it from other altcoins. It's not just speculation, it's infrastructure. Let's talk about institutional capital ETFs. Institutional interest isn't hypothetical. XRP ETF filings are piling up. When Bitcoin's ETF approvals drove billions into capital inflows, it set a precedent. XRP, with its real-world utility, growing adoption, could see a similar, if not much larger, influx. Stablecoins are another major factor. The market today is roughly $250 billion Projections suggest it could reach 1 to 2 trillion in a few years. Well, RLUSD is positioned to ride that wave, and every step of its growth feeds XRP directly. When you combine institutional ETF inflows with stablecoin adoption and tokenization, you create a perfect storm, a Category 5 hurricane. XRP becomes a utility asset powering trillions of dollars in daily transactions. Every transaction burns tokens. This is a deflationary model built for long-term growth. Some people compare XRP to Ethereum or Solana. Ethereum is great for dApps, but struggles with high fees and slow transactions. Solana is fast, but regulatory trust is limited. XRP sits in the sweet spot, the throne, speed, scalability, and compliance. It doesn't need to dominate every corner of crypto. Its mission is precise: power global settlements and enable cross-border liquidity. It's more surgical, if you ask me. That's the segment that matters the most, and Ripple is executing perfectly. If this combination, utility, regulatory trust, institutional adoption, this is what sets XRP apart from other altcoins. So if you take deflationary mechanics and market psychology, which is everyone was always touching on in multiple places, let's not forget XRP's tokenomics. Total supply is capped at 100 billion, and every transaction reduces circulating supply. As adoption grows, scarcity increases, creating upward price pressure, almost like a volcano getting ready to blow. Market psychology matters too. There are already millions of XRP wallets waiting for adoption to accelerate. But when ETFs launch, when banks implement Ripple-powered products, and when RLUSD grows further, this pent-up demand will drive price action. Combine that with a global regulatory environment that's increasingly crypto-friendly, and XRP is positioned for exponential growth. So let's go ahead to price predictions in 2026. So what does this mean for 1,000 XRP by 2026? If Bitcoin continues to run up and Ethereum follows with 5,500 to 6,000 or more, XRP could realistically trade between $5 to $9. In this cycle alone, easily, that puts 1,000 XRP at $5,000 to $9,000. That's just the beginning. As XRP cements its role as the backbone of global settlements, the potential grows dramatically. Trillions in tokenized flows, growing institutional adoption, deflationary supply model, all of these factors create a scenario where XRP is not just an investment. It is the infrastructure of the future. We are still in the early stages. By 2026, those who recognize this today could see a very different financial landscape, and 1,000 XRP could be worth far more than most people imagine. If this opens your eyes, smash that like button, leave a comment with your thoughts, and most importantly, subscribe to the Crypto Republic. This is the only channel bringing you the truth about XRP, global banking moves, and the wealth transfer already unfolding. Don't just watch history happen. Stay informed. Stay ahead. Stay in the Republic.